don't forget to click that subscribe and bell icon to receive a notification each time I upload a new video. Hi everyone, it's Mike here. So I've recently been going through my box of what I call orphan stamps, which are stamps that shouldn't be in there because I do actually know where that belongs. Stamps that I've lost the packaging for, or they've got a little bit damaged. I don't know who made them or where they're from or what the name of the stamp's called. And I've been going through and I found this one amongst my collection, which is a Vinci Vitruvian Man stamp. And I thought that would be just the right kind of size to do on an ATC, and I haven't done any ATCs for quite some time, so I thought I would create some today. So I've got some watercolour cardstock that these are just offcuts. Whenever I've got any watercolour cardstock left over from a project, if I've cut a specific size out of a sheet and there's left over, I always cut it down to either ATC size or maybe just a little bit bigger for other projects. So I've got quite a few of these. And I thought this would be quite a nice little project to do, to create some ATCs using that stamp with maybe a blotchy kind of mottled background, but to use a technique I haven't used in absolutely ages, and I'll explain what that is later. But the first things first is I need to cover this lot with some spritzy colour. So I'm just going to lay my splodge towel down. That's one side, look, that's the other. So we'll use the clean side, he says, and I'm just going to just lay those out. And I don't want to put a huge amount of colour on these ones, so I don't even know how many of these we've got. Okay, there's 10, that's fine. 10's quite a nice collection, or a nice little set for a collection. Right, so because it's kind of like Da Vinci, then what I'm going to try and do is we'll use some kind of light ochres and brown colours, he says, maybe some lemons. Let's have a look, where's my yellow ochre? That's orange. Yellow ochre, there we go. So I'll give that a scrunch up first. Make sure all the bits are off the bottom. Yeah, that's what I like about these spritzers. Even though they do separate a little bit, just a little shake and they're completely dissolved again. Okay, so we'll just start off with some yellow. I'll just give that, that's it. It's not really a spritz, this one, is it? It's more like a jet. That's fine. That's fine, that probably just wants to clean out. Okay, so then we'll go yellow ochre. And then we'll do sandstone. And these are really kind of quick and easy cards, or easy projects to do. So I'm going to get that dried off, and when these are dry I'll be right back. And I'm not going to move them at all. Okay, so I've turned my heat gun off and I'm just dabbing. Oh, excuse me. Oh dear. I'm just dabbing off the excess water because sometimes it just takes ages for them to dry. Now, I haven't really moved these. Now, you can tell I haven't moved them because when I lift that up, there's a clean spot underneath. There you go. So that's the first kind of base coat. Now, I'm trying to keep these kind of warms and neutrals, or on the warm side if you like, so that they look a little bit more like antique paper, that kind of stuff. Now this one over here hasn't really got a lot of colour in that corner. There's some lighter patches. So what I'm going to do is just introduce just a little bit just a tiny, tiny bit of green. Don't want to add too much. Just so there's a hint, if you like. Just to lift it a little. And bearing in mind, it will dry lighter. So let's get it dried and you'll see what I mean. Okay, so there we have it. So it's a real quick and easy way to get some real interesting kind of effect on backgrounds without having to spend a huge amount of money or go to a huge amount of effort. So I'm happy with those. I'm happy with those colours. So let's just lift those off and you can see exactly where they've been on my towel, look. There we go. We can get rid of that. That's a little bit damp. There's a bit of condensation's gone through underneath. So I'll just have a quick clean up and a quick wipe down with a baby wipe. There you go, you can see where I've gone off just a little bit. But that will wipe off and clean off dead easy. Okay, all clean and tidy. So we've got our 10 pieces of card. So now what we need to do is to stamp over the top, and I'm going to be using solvent-based StazOn to do this, and I've already placed the stamp on my stamp platform in the position where I want it. So let me just bring that in and I can put that back on. Now what I've done is I've already stamped down onto the plate, so I know exactly where it's going to lie. So all I have to do is to take my piece of cardstock, line the position up where I want it, like so, ink up the stamp, now I may switch up colours once I've done this one, just for a little bit of variety. Don't forget I've got 10 to do. Okay, so let's drop that down. Apply a little bit of pressure. And there you have it. Love it. And then I can do the same again for all the others. So I can line up the stamp, ink it up, make sure I've got plenty ink on. Stamp down, give it a good push. There we go. Okay, so let me just swap my inks over. See if I can find what I did with all the other ones. Just give me a second, I'll be right back. Okay, so what I've done is I've just dipped into my other collection of StazOn inks and I've pulled out Spiced Chai and Olive Green. Now again, these are both solvent-based inks. They also do the Jet Black, which is just a smaller version of that larger one. So I've got all three out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to place the stamp or the ATC back down again into position. This time I'm going to use the Spiced Chai. we'll see what that one looks like. There we go. Pretty darn good. So now we've done that one, let's try the olive green. So again, position that down. Just over this way just a tad. Take the olive green this time. And I'm not cleaning the stamp between. And let's see what that one looks like. Now I believe in these size ones, I think there's 13 colours. There's, you know, the purples and oranges and teal colours and all that kind of stuff. I do have all 13, but I don't think that some of the colours are going to go. Now, obviously, that's quite dark, isn't it? So you're not really going to get to see the difference. So I think I might as well just stick to black. So, yes. So, right, what I'll do then is I'll carry on and do the rest of these. And then when I've finished, I'll be right back. And I'll show you what I'm going to do next. This is where we revitalise a really, really, really old technique. Okay, so all 10 are now stamped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them all, or just put them to one side for now. And I'm just going to bring out, or just get hold of one. Now, what I've got in a container just to one side here is a brush and some bleach. And I'm just going to dip my nib into the bleach. And I'm going to just go around the inside of my Vitruvian Man. You can already see how it's started to lift the colour. Now you can do this with ordinary water, but it takes ages for the colour to lift and you've got to keep dabbing it off and dabbing it off, whereas using a bleach solution, now this isn't even 100% bleach, it's just a mixture of bleach and water. So it's quite a light solution, and the beauty with this is you can actually see where you've gone or where you've been pretty darn quickly. And of course, because it's bleach, kind of the longer you leave it, it keeps on going until it's kind of worn itself out. So you get a really kind of lighter effect, a real kind of pop from that background with no masking, no real messing. doesn't really take that long. So I'm going to go away and do all the rest, and then I'll be right back. Sorry, I'm back again. I've just thought, I'm dipping this brush into this bleach, and this is a water brush. Why don't I just fill the water brush with bleach? I never even thought of that. Let me see whether that will work. Just give me a sec. Okay, so, yes. Duh. Of course it works. It works really well. So we don't even have to bother dipping our brush now. We just go straight in. As long as you don't push too hard to get your bleach down through the brush so that it floods. Just use, you know, common sense. If you haven't got one of these water brushes, then just use an ordinary paintbrush and a little pot or a ramekin, or even just a lid with a little bit of diluted bleach. Gone a little bit over there, but that doesn't matter. There we go. Right, okay, so I'll continue on with the rest, and I'll join with you when I'm done. Okay, so I'm on to the last one now. Now, just as I was doing the previous one, a thought struck me. Now, I've just taken it on blind faith that the bleach wouldn't affect the solvent-based ink. Now, I don't know why, whether I've done it in the past and it's never worked or it's never affected it, but it wasn't really a conscious decision, or it wasn't really a conscious thought that the solvent-based ink that stays on wouldn't be affected by the bleach. It's only the water-based pigments. But obviously they haven't been affected. But if you wanted to just make sure, doubly sure, that it's not going to affect, because I don't know whether or not other products or other inks will react to bleach, and it may just be the strength of the bleach that I'm using that it's not being affected. I think just like when you do your hair, you're colouring your hair, you do a colour fastness test or a colour test just to see whether the inks that you are going to use will be affected by the bleach solution that you're going to use before you start. Because the last thing you want is to start adding the bleach and then all of a sudden find that your main stamped image is also being bleached out and not just the content. So, like we've said before, just use a little bit of common sense do a little bit of a test first to see whether or not your solvent-based inks will be affected or won't be affected before you go ahead and do the project. But failing that, there is one way which you are guaranteed that it's not going to be affected, and that's if you stamp and use embossing powder. So if you stamp and then use black embossing powder, that definitely won't be affected by the bleach. So there you go, that was the last one. Haha. So I'm going to let those dry for a second and then I'll be right back. Okay, so they're pretty much dry now. So obviously the colour varies depending on the colour and the intensity in the background. So like on this one here, the legs are a little bit darker than the actual body. On this one, the body's darker than the legs, but that's okay. They're all very, very different. Now, that one and that one, the colour has actually bleached out a little bit from the solvent, but all the rest are fine, which is a bit weird because it's the same one. I stuck with the chai unless that was the black that's been affected, but hey ho. Right, so what I want to do now then is I'm happy with those, is I want to add my artist trading card back onto each one. Now I've stuck mine down onto some sticky, double-sided sticky sheets. Now will I be able to get it off easy enough? No, it's really, really, really thick. There we go. Let's peel that off. Turn one over, let's just create a bit of space. And then these are just slightly smaller than the actual card itself. So this, the blank of this is available as a digi-download on my website. Just when you go to my website, just do a search for ATC and it'll pull up the digi-download. There also are ones for the artist trading coins. I've already got my name in these, but obviously they'll be blank if you want to buy yours. Right, so those are those, that's that. I'm going to do the other 9, and again, I'll be right back. Just make sure I get it the right way up. Okay, so that's the backs all stuck down and written on. So all going from 1, 2, 3, 4. You can't really see number 3 there, can you? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they're all individually numbered. So each one, all unique, each one individually numbered. So all I want to do now, just to kind of finish them off, is just to go around each one, adding just a little bit of distressing. So there we go. Just to kind of finish off and frame, and then pretty much good to go. Okay, so that is the last of the distressing. So that's all 10 now duly distressed. Now, so what I like to do with my ATCs is that I like to put them into little plastic sleeves like so. So that's what I will do for the rest of these, and then I'll put them in order. And then what I normally do, or what I would like to do, is send those out in thank you parcels, or with little thank you notes, or as a thank you note. So I won't put them all in the plastic ones because obviously the shine is going to detract away from what they are. But that's just kind of like a real basic ATC. It's one layer really when you think about it. You've only got some coloured ink and some stamping. So, and then a little bit of that bleach just to kind of make that main focal point pop. So you don't really have to go to too much effort to get something which I think looks really, really nice. So that's it from me today. I hope you've enjoyed watching me create those ATCs. Just flip one over so you can see that I have done the backs. And if you have enjoyed it, please remember to give the video a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already for more videos like this one, then you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. That's all from me for now. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. Thank you.